Chris, your big takeaway after last night's results, especially as we look ahead to New Hampshire.
Well, I hope the people that are voting for Trump in these primaries enjoy the tyranny that may be coming to this country, because the tyranny is what it's about.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America.
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. And ladies and gentlemen, the irony is not lost on me. I hope it's not lost on you that MS-DNC, I keep making that mistake, MSNBC literally dug up Chris Matthews to decry the results of the Iowa caucus, calling it tyranny. The voters are embracing tyranny. Again, the sky is falling, the end of the world is here. The irony is that on election night for the Iowa caucus, it was MSNBC that was embracing the tyranny. We're going to talk about the state network of the Democratic Party and how they are a bunch of complete and utter cowards when it came to Donald Trump's victory in Iowa. But before we do that, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. And if you like what you see and hear in this or any of the other videos on the channel, smash that thumbs up button, like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff, because all of that feeds that dang YouTube algorithm.
Feed me Seymour.
In case you weren't watching MS-DNC, and frankly I wouldn't blame you if you weren't, Rachel Maddow actually censored the victory speech of Donald Trump after his historic win in Iowa. That historic win included winning over 50% of the vote, an artificial benchmark that was created by the media itself. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to start with Rachel Maddow doing a little business for MS-DNC and explaining to the audience why they need to be protected from Donald Trump's victory speech.
At this point in the evening, the projected winner of the Iowa caucuses has just started giving his victory speech.
Say his name!
We will keep an eye on that as it happens. We will let you know if there's any news made in that speech, if there's anything noteworthy, something substantive and important.
Substantive and important that they think you should know. You see, MS-DNC doesn't trust people to make their own conclusions, to make their own decisions, to make up their own mind about anything political. MS-DNC has to spoon feed you what they think you need to hear, what you need to know. It's all about control with MS-DNC and the left-wing media in general. I, for one, think that my audience, at least, you guys have a brain in your head. You can make decisions for yourself. You can have informed opinions. You can have uninformed opinions for all I care. But you just have to be able to think on your own, process information, come to your own conclusion. We can disagree on that conclusion. But MS-DNC doesn't want independent thinking. They don't want you straying from the path that they have laid in front of you. And that is orange man bad, orange man dangerous. Democracy is at stake. And Donald Trump is the ruination of society and civilization. You can't figure that out on your own, so they have to feed you every second of every day the same old tripe.
The reason I'm saying this is, of course, there is a reason that we and other news organizations have generally stopped giving an unfiltered live platform to remarks by former President Trump.
You're scared because you're dispensable.
Donald Trump is a disruptor. Again, I'm not so much a Donald Trump fan as I am a fan of anything that disrupts narratives portrayed very nicely, very neatly by any partisans whatsoever. I don't think Donald Trump is necessarily a conservative. I don't think he's necessarily a Republican. I think he's an agitator. I think he's proven that he's an agitator. He has opinions that go against the mainstream. But MS-DNC can't have that. They have to have you thinking the way that their bosses, and their bosses being the Democratic Party, want you to think. So, heaven forbid you give a live hot mic to Donald Trump, he might say something that the people watching this channel might actually agree with.
Not out of spite. It is not a decision that we relish. It is a decision that we regularly revisit. And honestly, earnestly, it is not an easy decision.
I'm going to call BS on that. They don't do it out of spite. They don't relish it. Come on. We've seen the glee in their eyes whenever Donald Trump lost an election or something bad happened to him. Another charge came out. Rachel Maddow with her TikTok during the Russian scandal that turned out to be nothing. It turned out to be a non-scandal. So forgive me if I don't believe you, Rachel, when you say that you don't take joy in censoring Donald Trump. It's your little fetish, in my opinion. It's what you love to do. It shows that you're better than the orange man in some way, but in all honesty, it just shows how petty you and your network are.
But there is a cost to us as a news organization of knowingly broadcasting untrue things.
Again, I'm stopping the video a lot, and I know that. I know some of you guys don't like that. I gotta call BS again. You have an entire 24/7 news network. You mean to tell me that you can't find the time to allow an imposing point of view to broadcast on your network that you then can't, quote unquote, debunk, or you can't fact check, or you can't dispute with actual evidence? So instead, you have to suppress it and make sure that nobody ever hears it? Either you're very bad at your job, or there's an organized plan to prevent people watching this network from obtaining all the information out there.
That is a fundamental truth of our business and who we are. And so his remarks tonight will not air here live. We will monitor them and let you know about any news that he makes.
Oh, I bet you will. If this isn't the face of cowardice in the fear of a Trump landslide that just occurred in Iowa, and again, they're going to downplay it. They're going to say, well, he only got 51%, which means that the other 49% didn't go with Trump. If they're going to play these games and they want to do their spin and all that, but then not let Donald Trump have his piece, it shows they're scared of something. And I think what they're scared of is not necessarily Donald Trump themselves, but exposing themselves as the hacks that they are, including not just Rachel Maddow, but Joy Reid, who went on what I think is a pretty racist and ignorant rant that we're going to discuss after the break. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. So in addition to throttling free speech and not letting their viewers hear what Donald Trump actually has to say, MS-DNC also prefaced the start of the Iowa caucus by having Joy Reid trot out the old tired trope of racism. In this case, it was the racism of white Christian evangelicals. Let's listen to what she had to say before the caucus started, and then we're going to add a little more to it that I couldn't get a clip of, but you guys need to know about as well.
But, you know, I feel like the important sort of data point, and you know, Steve talks about it a lot, he's going to probably talk about it a little more tonight, is that these are white Christians. That this is a state that is overrepresented by white Christians that are going to participate in these caucuses, especially tonight. Earlier today, reached out to Robbie Jones, from the Public Religion Research Institute, knowing that we were going to talk about Iowa. And this is a hyper-evangelical white state. And he said the following to me: Iowa is about 61% white Christian. The country as a whole is approximately 41% white Christian. And in Iowa, we're talking about evangelical white Christians. And he said the following. Because I asked him, what do they get out of supporting Donald Trump? Because he keeps losing, he keeps delivering losses and losses and losses. And he said the following: they see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country, and Trump has promised to give it back to them. All the things that we think about electability, about, you know, what are people gaming out, or none of that matters when you believe that God has given you this country, that it is yours, and that everyone who is not a white conservative Christian is a fraudulent American. That's racist!
You know how I know that this is racism? Just masquerading as some sort of quote-unquote data point or whatever she was saying, whatever she was yammering about. When you switch the language around, and you make it a Democrat-controlled area, let's say the People's Republic of New York City. If you were to put out a statement about how the People's Republic of New York City is majority-minority and that it's overrepresented in terms of the larger population of New York State, let's say, or something like that. I'm just making this up as I go along. If you were to go to say that overrepresentation leads to a racist point of view by those voters in their choice of candidate, you would automatically call me a racist. I would automatically be a bigot, discriminating against minorities, and you'd probably be right if I were to say things like that the way that Joy Reid has done here. But Reid went further in this broadcast beyond what she said here, and it's documented in this news story. From the New York Post, Joy Reid accuses white Christian Iowa Trump voters of wanting people of color to bow down to them. That's right, she went even further than what she said in that video before the caucuses opened for voting on Monday. Let's go further down the article and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Later in the show, she argued that this ideology, this white Christian evangelicalism, cannot be separated from its religious ties. It is religion. And I think that we have to actually confront, and this is what the Democrats are going to face, is this is now what white evangelicalism is. It is Christian nationalism. That's the name of it, right? Now, again, imagine if this was being said about Muslims, if this was being said about African Americans, if this was being said about Hispanics, that it was other types of nationalism coming from them. Imagine the outrage on the left if someone on the right, if someone on Fox News said the same thing. It goes on to say that she then reiterated her earlier rhetoric from the show, which we saw in that video, and claiming that white evangelical Christians of a certain mindset think that they own this country, that immigrants, that brown people, like Vivek Ramaswamy, she actually invokes Vivek after trouncing him and clowning him in other videos.
Well, now that Vivek Ramaswamy has given up the ghost and given up his presidential campaign, I guess to do a hit new annoying podcast. I think if he does a podcast, he should call it My Annoying Freshman Year Roommate, because that's basically what it reminds me of, like the most annoying possible freshman year roommate.
Boy, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black.
I don't know where the hell she's getting this from, but again, switch it around and think about a Republican, a conservative, a white male saying this about some other group. Joy Reid went on to further say they are not trying to convince people and win people over through politics. What they're saying is, we own this country and everyone will bow down to us. Joy Reid is a buffoon sowing dissent and division over race and ethnicity. It's absolutely disgusting to see, but it's absolutely par for the course for MS-DNC's playbook. Censoring Donald Trump, dividing the public, hiding information from them, making sure that you know that you should live in fear if you are a Democrat from the big bad orange man and all the tyranny that's coming your way. It's complete and utter nonsense. They herd people together in their little bubbles that they create, and then they sow this sort of discontent that completely divides people, adds to tensions, and makes it harder for us to come together as a nation when we need to later on beyond elections. That's just my opinion on the whole thing. I want to know what you guys think about all this. Am I making too much of MS-DNC? After all, their ratings aren't so great, right? Maybe I shouldn't be talking about them so much. Or do you agree that we need to call out this sort of BS, this sort of censorship, this sort of race baiting that we see from this channel all the time, and we need to keep calling it out until they stop doing it? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and please, as always, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other shows, like and share the video with your friends, all that good stuff. I want to know what you guys think about all the shenanigans, all this buffoonery coming from MS-DNC this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.